Hello, this is Ball Racing with the BWOAH score race review of the Mexican Grand Prix. As we all know, Lewis Hamilton is now a four-time world champion. Mercedes won the Constructors' Championship last weekend in America. And of course, Max Verstappen managed to win a race for the third time in 18 months. Once again, after Daniel Kvyat was demoted. Yes, we don't need to be reminded of all those stats. It's kind of boring. I mean, the thing I was most focused about was seeing Kimi Räikkönen once again not giving a flying fuck when they decided to play more gimmicks on the podium. Last week, of course, it was Usain Bolt doing the dab with Lewis Hamilton, and Kimi was just standing there like a teapot, completely unimpressed. And of course, this week, Hardwell turned up with the rotating podium, and Kimi shrugged his shoulders and then just took a sip of his champagne, and the rest they say is history. Just really, and to be honest, and yeah, he was wearing his shades again. I mean, my God, Liberty Media, I know you try really hard to impress the fans, but this was just this gimmick of having Hardwell doing, trying to get everyone all excited after the podium ceremony was just a step too far. I mean, it was so awful. I just started laughing, to be honest. But I've got to say, though, you did give the whole internet a good meme to laugh about again. So yeah, this is the BWOAH score, and I will be going down the results. So yes, the race winner Max Verstappen gets a 10 out of 10. He was aggressive at the start. He got in front at the very moment he needed to through the tricky section at the start of the lap. And yes, he was so dominant that, towards the end of the race, he just cockily just went off and set a series of fastest laps towards the end of the race. And to be honest, it was almost like Sebastian Vettel when he was dominating from Red Bull, well, all those years ago. The team would say, please turn down the engine, just take it easy. But Max would just keep pushing on because, he was in the zone. And let's face it, he was pretty much the driver of the day. Once again, I can't really take it away from him, to be honest. He was just so dominant. It was just, considering the fact that the Renault engine, I'm sorry, I mean Tag Heuer, as they call it at Red Bull. The Tag Heuer engine was bulletproof, although it wasn't bulletproof in the other car, which, of course, did make me sit there and think, have they swapped their cars around there at Red Bull? I think Hermann Marko's up to his tricks again. And of course, at second place, it's Valtteri Bottas finishing 20 seconds behind. He did pretty much the same strategy as Verstappen. Of course, they all pitted during that virtual safety car. Oh, he's just average. I'm sorry. Valtteri Bottas, I think, probably would have finished 5th or 6th if it wasn't for the incident and Ricciardo retiring. I'll give him an 8 because at least he didn't fall off the cliff like he's been doing in the past few weeks. Third place, Kimi, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. He had a horrendous start, just really. I mean, I have to say, in the past few in races I've seen him fall down that far, like during the past 3 years since he's been back at Ferrari, he would usually end up finishing like 7th or 8th or even 9th place, just well off the pace. But today he fought back. Yes, I know the virtual safety car helped him out, but you got to realise he did a tremendous job on the soft compound. Sebastian Vettel, of course, finished in 4th place. He did a 2-stop race, switched onto the soft for the second stint, then went onto the ultra softs. He did well to go back, but to be honest, though, that was such a blunder at the start. I mean, I know it wasn't intentional when he hit Hamilton, but, it's pretty much indicative of his whole 2017 year. He's had the speed, the and a lot of brilliant overtaking moves, but there's always a mistake in Vettel, so I'm going to have to give him a 7 out of 10. Just, he's pretty much showed today that once again why Lewis Hamilton is a deserving world champion. Esteban Ocon, who finished 6th, no, not 6th, 5th, one lap down, he what's it? He gets. I'm trying to think. What should he get? I mean, once again, he did a brilliant performance, but I've got to give him an 8 points. I mean, he showed a lot of speed. He got up to third place, but he did fall behind, I have to say. So I would give him a 9, but it's only going to be an 8. Lance Stroll, on the other hand, is going to get 9 points. An unbelievable performance. Yes, he started down in 11th or 12th, but the way he made his way up so cunningly and so decisively, really, I mean, he's beginning to show why he's been brought into Formula 1 so early, despite his bad performances earlier this season. I've got to say it. This performance has probably got to be the best race of his whole season so far. Homeboy Sergio Perez will only get 7 out of 10, sort of. Well, you know, he did a standard performance. You know, he took two. He had a 2-stop race like Vettel, but I have to say, kind of lacking something, I have to say, recently. Kevin Magnussen, for me, will get 9 out of 10. My goodness, what a brilliant performance under pressure from Alonso and Hamilton. Just so, I mean, that Haas car has not been quick in the past month or so, but yet he managed to drag it up into 8th place. I have to say, I didn't really expect him to pull off such a good performance, considering the fact that he's been criticised very heavily for being so aggressive, you know, constantly cutting in front of people. But today, he was so clean, and he drove extremely well. For once, he did not get himself involved in any stupid bit of action. I was actually very impressed for once. I mean, this just shows you that Kevin Magnussen is someone who could be a potential championship contender if he knew how to keep his nose clean. 9th place, of course, is the world champion Lewis Hamilton. Of course, what happened at the start was not his fault whatsoever. I mean, if anything, it was an accident. But having said that, though, he got stuck behind a lot of the slower cars like Carlos Sainz for quite a lot of laps after he came in, after his puncture. He finished the lap down, of course, because, well, Ocon, 5th place, man. Ocon finished the lap down. What am I talking about? But, yeah, long race today. So, you know, he's only going to get 6. Really disappointing. But Fernando Alonso, though, the guy who finished in 10th place for me, gets an 8 out of 10. I know some will probably give him a 9 out of 10, but I have to say, he did very well to hold off Hamilton, but in the process, he completely fell away from Magnussen, who I think he could have beaten if Lewis wasn't chasing after him, so it's only going to be at 8 points. Then, of course, we get down to Felipe Massa, who finished 11th, the first of the non-point scorers. I have to say, what on earth happened? I mean, you know, we had that skirmish with Vettel earlier on, but he just faded away. And I have to say, you know, his comments earlier this week where he was just saying, oh, well, you know, if Williams want to make the wise decision, they should keep me and forget about Kubica and Paul di Resta. But, you know, what are you... I mean, seriously, Felipe, you know, you sit there trying to talk the talk, but I know last week you did quite well at Austin, but, you know, you only just about finished, I think, was it 2 places ahead of Stroll? I can't remember last week's race, but today's race was awful, so it's going to be a 6 out of 10. Stoffel van Dorn finished 12th. Well, that McLaren's not very quick. I mean, he has struggled a lot this year, so I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. Pierre Gasly, as we all know, who finished down in 13th, entered today's race with only 12 laps of running all weekend, thanks to persistent mechanical and power unit issues. So, you know, for him to get to the end of this race in that Toro Rosso, I think I'm going to have to give him a 7 out of 10. Pascal Wehrlein finished 2 laps down in 14th place. All I can say is that, well, at least he didn't finish last. That's just one thing. But having said that, though, Ericsson did outrun him very, very heavily this weekend. And I have to say, You know, this is probably one of the reasons why Berline isn't exactly someone who's seen as, you know, much of a target for even the midfield teams, because he does seem to blow hot and cold too much. So he's going to get a 6 out of 10. And of course, in last place, it is Roman Grosjean. Roman Grosjean was the fourth driver in this race to go on a 2-stop strategy, but it made no difference. He's been miles off the pace all weekend long. Really poor performance. I don't know what's going on with Grosjean anymore. He just whinges and moans about everything. He never ever really... He's just an annoying driver to have. I mean, he's 31 years old. I mean, earlier on this season, he talked about how he would have destroyed Kimi Räikkönen if it wasn't for having curves, but you know, this is just awful. I mean, you got absolutely destroyed by Magnussen. I've got to give you a 4 out of 10. And yes, Roman Grosjean is today's reject of the race. Absolutely terrible, just garbage. And as for the 5 retirees, Carlos Sainz, Marcus Ericsson, Brendan Hartley, Nico Hulkenberg and Daniel Ricciardo, I'm going to have to give them no scores, meaning that those scores, the no scores they will receive will not count towards their bar score averages for the end of this season. So, yeah, I will be doing at least, well, 2 more race review videos next month, and then, of course, once the end of the season come, I will be doing a season review with the bar score averages for every team and driver come in 10 separate videos. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon.